up? My name is Joss and welcome back to my channel squibblesreads. So as you can tell, a little bit of a different setup today. I just got a new phone and I'm going to try filming on my phone and seeing how that works for me. So definitely let me know if you like this setup better than my other setup. If not, I can definitely go back because I was just filming on my camcorder. So definitely let me know in the comments below what you like better. Today I am putting up two videos. Y'all voted on Twitter saying that you would rather have two different videos if I'm going to be reviewing books that are on completely separate topics for different target audiences, so that is what I am doing today. In this video, I will be reviewing two really highly anticipated fall YA 2016 releases, and in the other video, I am going to be reviewing Behold the Dreamers by Mbola Mbu, so I will leave that link down below if you are interested in that video. But the two books that I will be reviewing in this video are Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco and Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. Both of these books came out yesterday on Tuesday, September 20th, and I did receive ARCs for both of them. So I will be starting with Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. This is being billed as the first in a series of YA gothic thrillers set in the Victorian era. We are following a girl whose name is Audrey Rose Wadworth, and much to her father's dismay, she is really interested in forensic sciences. Being a female in this time, being interested in murder and science is very much frowned down upon. Body after body is being found, and Audrey starts to investigate the string of murders, which happens to be leading to a serial killer under the tutelage of her uncle, who also studies forensics and teaches forensics. This book was inspired by Kerri Maniscalco's own love of forensic science, and if y'all have been with me for a while, these things like gothic thrillers, Victorian era, forensics, murder, these are all kind of buzzwords that really draw me into being interested in a book, so naturally I had super high expectations. At the beginning of the first chapter, there is this long, detailed passage about the incisions that Audrey is making into one of the cadavers in her uncle's lab, and that was both eerie and scientific at the same time, so it immediately drew me into the book. One of the things that was super interesting was that a lot of the other main characters apart from Audrey are male, so we got to see all of their expectations for her being a woman in this time period. So there is some discussion around being a female who goes against the grain of social norms. I really enjoyed the writing, which I could definitely tell was inspired by some of the big female authors during this time, like the Brontes, Austen, and Gaskell. I also really enjoyed the movement of the plot such that we got to hear some of Audrey's inner monologue, being that it was written in first person, so that it really helped her character come to life instead of moving from plot point to plot point. While I was reading this, it was reminding me of something, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it until around 20% of the book. I realized that the thing that it was reminding me of was Jane Steele by Litsy, which is one of my favorite books of the year. Jane Steele also explores some feminist themes in Victorian times, such as grappling with the difference between what society expects of a woman as opposed to one's personal values in shades of morally gray, but I think in comparison to Jane Steele, the scope and the emotional range of Stalking Jack the Ripper was just narrower and a little bit less deep. In terms of the scope, Jane Steele did a really good job in covering a lot of what was happening internationally at that point in time, which in turn impacted things that were happening in London politically, which in turn impacted the ancestry and history of a lot of the characters in the book, which added so many layers and nuances of dimension. That scope is definitely smaller in Stalking Jack the Ripper. In terms of the romance, there was romance in both Jane Steele and Stalking Jack the Ripper. However, in Jane Steele, it was allowed to boil and simmer for many, many days and weeks, whereas in comparison in Stalking Jack the Ripper, Audrey literally falls in love with her love interest Thomas at the very sound of his voice at their first interaction. He has like that typical crooked grin, and a lot of the things that he says, even compared to your other typical YA broody boy love interests, are just so smarmy and just kind of icky, and this is just like really to another level of smarmy and icky. And while like I'm not opposed to romances in books, I really do prefer that kind of slow boil as opposed to an insta-love. I did also have a couple of plot issues towards the ending, but I won't be talking about those because I don't want to give any spoilers, but because I had Jane Steele to compare it to, I think my rating is a little bit lower. Had I not had Jane Steele to compare it to, I think I probably would have given it like 3.75 or 4, but all that being said, I did end up rating Stalking Jack the Ripper 3.5 stars, but it is definitely something that I would recommend as kind of like an entry to gothic thrillers. characters. The second book I'm going to review is Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake, and this book was all the buzz at BEA this year. This is the first in a series, and Goodreads says that it is both an untitled series and also the Three Dark Crowns series, and I don't think anyone really knows how many books are intended to be in the series, so I don't actually know what's going on with any of that. If you do, definitely let me know. So on the island of Fenburn, there are triplet girls that are born every generation, and each of them are queens, and each of them possesses a different type of magic, and that involves like trainers and previous queens and different companions and little nuances within that type of magic. This generation, two of the three triplets don't actually seem to have that talent within their magic. The first one is Catherine, who is supposed to be a poisoner and is able to stomach a lot of different types of poisons. The second one of them is Arsino, who is a naturalist, and she is supposed to have just this natural blooming gift to tame animals and be able to bloom like any kind of plant in the world. Unfortunately, neither of them have the gifts that they are supposed to. And the third sister, Mirabella, is actually super gifted at being an elemental, meaning that she can manipulate all of the elements. When the sisters turn 16, there is a battle, and two of them have to die in order for one to advance and take the crown. It is written in third person from all of the sisters' points of views, as well as from the side characters' points of views as well. One of each of the first three chapters describes each sister's worlds and their companions and their friends, so by the time we get a grip of that, we are already 20% through the book. What I liked was that I could tell that the tone definitely shifted every time that we switched perspectives, so it definitely helped me distinguish between the three girls. One tiny little detail that I loved was that naturalists have a very strong connection to animals, and it really helps with their compassion and their connection and their safety within their little realm, and I am a sucker for a good human and animal friendship. In terms of plot driving, there wasn't really a lot that was moving the plot forward because we would switch between these different realms and between the different perspectives, and sometimes even indulging in a story about one of the side characters. On one hand, I really liked this because it helped make the world so much richer and it helped build the magic system. However, I also think that it made it messier because I think this time would have been better spent adding layers to the protagonists and also kind of building upon the political system and the royal system. So it's kind of like it was doing too much but also too little for me at the same time. About 80% of the book was used for this build-up and this world building, and I was expecting like this big epic finale, and I won't give away anything about the plot, but I think the ending just kind of let me down a little bit. It felt a little bit deflated. On one hand, I really want to say that I hope book 2 will give me more, and I think it will get better because of all the setup that was done. The author decided to break the story at this point in time, and the author knows that reviewers are receiving this book as it is, so I think I can only judge it and rate it as it is in its present form right now. All that being said, I will give Three Dark Crowns 3 stars, but I will definitely be picking up the next book because I want to see what happens. That is it for this video. If you guys have any comments, questions, or anything else, please leave it down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!